All right, guys, we're going to talk about a very personal conversation that I think will be helpful in general. I talk a lot to my coaching clients because most of my coaching clients are usually in their 40s and beyond about perimenopause and menopause. And one of the things that I want to share with you is kind of a little bit about what I've gone through thus far, and just some things to look out for. So for those of you, and of course, just got to say this because I am not a medical professional. I am not an OBGYN. I am not somebody who is a hormone expert. I'm just sharing through my own personal journey, perimenopause, weight management issues that have come up. So I just want to kind of put this out there to hopefully help some of you maybe start to identify what might be going on for you. So everything was fine for me up until I think it was about 42. I was super consistent with my cycle. Everything happened like clockwork. It really had ever since I was 12. So when I started seeing that my periods were sometimes going 2-3 weeks, sometimes I was skipping a month completely, it freaked me out. I had that in combination with night sweats, like crazy night sweats. I was sweating at night, having a lot of anxiety at night, which I had never had before. Usually I was a super solid sleeper. And so I made an appointment with my OBGYN. It was my normal annual exam. But I talked to her about all these things that were happening, my concerns. And at first, she kind of dismissed me and said, "Oh, you're too young to be going through that." And I thought, I've been like clockwork. I am not used to these changes. This is all new to me. And I started doing my own research on perimenopause, menopause. And a lot of what I was experiencing very much mirrored perimenopause. So perimenopause is kind of the time period that's really the rockiest. It's the period where your hormones are slightly changing constantly. Like estrogen might be decreasing, things like that. The best analogy I heard, as opposed to what we maybe think menopause is, which is one day your period just poof goes away. It's kind of like a 10-year slow fade out. So like the light was on really bright, it came down a few notches, and that's your hormones slowly fading out over time. And so anyway, so I was already getting a physical. She then asked for an additional blood work screening of my hormone profile, which a lot of my clients don't even know that you can do that. So if you see your OBGYN and you're already getting your annual physical and they're going to draw your blood for cholesterol and all that stuff, they can also draw some for your OBGYN, and they can run a hormone profile to see where all your hormones are. And that gives them a good indicator based on those levels. It's not 100% accurate, but gives them a good indicator as to if you are starting or in the process of perimenopause. Just having that information sometimes can be quite relieving because you know what it is, right? So she did that. She ran my blood work, came back. Yes, she said, definitely you're in perimenopause based on these numbers. So that being said, what I asked her was, what can I do? Because see, when people gain weight during perimenopause and menopause, it's usually due to cravings. Those cravings are coming, I would venture to say, for most women, due to lack of sleep, quality sleep, and all of the problems that go into it in that regard. Because without solid sleep, we don't always make the best choices, right? So I said to her, what can I do? Because I'm having these horrible night sweats. I'm waking up, soaked. I'm having anxiety when I'm sleeping. I can't seem to stay asleep. What can I do? She said, let's do this. I had not been taking birth control. She said, let's start you on a low dose birth control to help bump your estrogen levels back up. So we did. And within a few weeks, night sweats went away, anxiety went away. I started getting better sleep. I share this because I'm not saying birth control will be the answer for everyone, but if you're in a similar situation, it's at least worth opening up that line of conversation with your OBGYN and seeing what can be done. And then she informed me, 45 plus, we could always look into hormone replacement therapy if I need it and or want it. So I just want to share this for several factors. One, if you're concerned about your weight going through perimenopause, menopause, whatever you can do for sleep purposes is going to be huge to help you avoid the carby cravings, all that kind of stuff. I've been losing weight. I'm 44, I'm about to turn 45 in January. I've been losing weight this entire year eating carbs. I'd love to tell you it's really about being in a calorie deficit. The problem is once we get to a certain age, especially if we're sedentary, our calories are going to go down. But if you were somebody who is having really rough time sleeping and you lump that in with you don't need a whole lot of calories to begin with, it's very easy in perimenopause and menopause to put weight on. And so I think that's what happens to a lot of us, is that our sleep is affected, our decision making is not good. We maybe don't even know we're going through it, because keep in mind, if somebody had a fairly irregular cycle to begin with, they may not even know they're going through perimenopause. I've heard numbers as low as 35 or 37 can be the start of it. I think most women probably fall in the 40s. And it's usually about a 10-year window. So like for me, I'm anticipating 42 to 52, right? Somewhere in that ballpark. But the reason I bring all of this up is because whatever you can do to help with your quality of sleep, talk to your doctor, see what can be done. And then the other thing is you can control your weight in perimenopause and menopause if you stay consistent, if you eat at a calorie deficit, if you do all those things. But will it maybe be different than it was in your 20s? Absolutely. In my 20s, I could drop 10 pounds in a month. Granted, I probably was still doing kind of crazy things to do that, or even a couple weeks. But now I chose to take, a whole year to lose 14, 15 pounds. But I got to have treats every day. Didn't have to give up any food groups, didn't have to do anything extreme, just had to be in a calorie deficit. So I'm really hoping that this brings a little ray of hope to you if you're struggling with that. 2, I hope just having this conversation, like, let's be honest, girls get conversations all the time about puberty, body changing, women get to discuss happily and freely about pregnancy. All that's great. Those are 2 different phases of a woman's life, but nobody really wants to talk about the perimenopause. There are some people more and more speaking out about it, but I know growing up, women never talked about this, right? Like I had no idea at 42 that was even a real option for me until I really started doing the digging and the researching. So I just want to encourage you, 1, don't hesitate to get yourself checked out. Make sure you're getting your checkups regularly. 2, have a good communication with your OBGYN. And if you don't feel comfortable talking to them, get a different one. Get somebody you can talk to for this phase of your life, because you want options. You don't want to feel like you're stuck all the time. Number 3, remind yourself you're not a victim. You can totally get through this phase and either maintain a healthy weight. I'm losing weight. It's possible. It just may look different, and you may have to be more patient than you've ever been, and you may have to be a little bit more dialed in because, again, as we do age, if we are less active, that can be a factor. But less active means not doing gym workouts. It means getting off your chair and moving. That's the big one. In our current situation with so many people working from home, I see a lot of sedentary women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. So get up and move your body, walk your neighborhood, just move. And so these are all things I just want to encourage you to think about. I wanted to share a little bit of my journey with you just so you know it is possible. I started my journey back when I was 30, obviously very young kids, not even remotely thinking about this phase of my journey or really even being aware of it. And now I'm going through it, and I know so many of you are, and I just want to offer some help, some ideas, and to let you know you are not alone in this phase either. All right, if you need more help with this issue, you have more questions, I will do my very best. Again, I am not a doctor, but I can speak from my own personal experience or things I've even seen my other coaching clients do. So if you want to share questions on perimenopause, weight management, things of that nature, please do. Please share this, because I think so many women are in the dark on this, and we keep operating our lives like we did in our 20s and 30s, even though our bodies are doing not things that they were doing in our 20s and 30s. And we have to know how to start to segue. I've created more white space in my life, which means more downtime, more time to rest and relax, prioritizing sleep hygiene more. There's things I did not do in my 20s and 30s that I'm doing now. And I'm grateful for the willingness to change. And so anyway, yes, like and subscribe, share this. And if you have more questions, please list them below. You guys have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.